Seems like every single time an FC game rolls around, the Ajax are not top of their domestic league, where they should be. And let's not speak on last year, because they had an absolutely horrific time, losing out on the title on the last day of the year. And being a squad notoriously known for losing their players, it's going to be more difficult to go again. And, oh yeah, the manager actually walked out on them. Instead of John Heitinger, and we're going to try and take this team to the top, as yes, they sit third at the time of recording and are unbeaten, but this team can't settle for mediocrity as they're going for the Champions League. As yes people, here we go, yet again starting the year in FC26 this time with an Ajax Amsterdam rebuild. And this is the team that we load into. I've got to say, out of all the times I've done it, which is the past 3 years, it's the worst team I have seen so far. With Weghorst being 32, Berghuis now 33, Klaassen 32. It's just an aging squad. In some positions, however, because when I do scroll down to the bench, the old faithful, Sutalo, got Glauch, we got Fitzjim, as this is not going to be any ordinary Ajax rebuild. And I'm not building a contract so we can get rid of that. We're not having strict objectives. Apart from one, which is we can't have anyone over the age of 27 in the Champions League winning squad. We've got to do it with a young team. As gone are the days of Ajax trying to sell all their best talents. We're going to keep them around, and we've been gifted a 5-star scout. And let's face it, Ajax known for bringing their youth through, like Kenneth Taylor. Berghuis returned to the club after being away. And then there's Kasper Dolberg here. I thought he'd end up at Celtic. That was a transfer I think that was rumoured. We got Raul Moro. Like I said, Grau and Akpom's gone on loan to Ipswich Town. We've got a 41-year-old goalkeeper in Remco Pasveer. And he's not going to pass as my goalkeeper. He's retiring. We need a new one. As when we scroll even further than the first players you saw, we do have other youth players here in Stewer, who's 17. Bouwman, the same. Bounida's only 19. I know he's not actually Dutch, but we've got a Dutchman in Jetten. We've also got an Englishman in McConnell. As because it's me taking over as well, I am going to get to pick my own tactics. And in a league where we should be winning, I'm going to go 4-3-3 attack, move the defensive approach to being high, go short passing, try and get in the other team's face with a shadow striker and also a deep playmaker. It looks like this. We need to work on our right back and also signing a goalkeeper, as I've actually dropped Makio back to left back. He can play basically anywhere. With them stats at 17, he absolutely looks flawless. He's on for a big career, and with Yorel Hato obviously going to Chelsea, we need someone to filter in there. And I don't want to give up on Wijnal because he's been here quite a while, and he's actually overgrown his potential. In his age, we've got Rosa, and I am going to try and sell some older players, but we can't just do that yet. Gonna have to turn to our academy because I want to give these the chance first, and currently I don't like any of them. So before we actually sell or buy, I'm gonna try and get a new scouting network in with our 5-star scout Verbik, obviously going to the Netherlands. I want to find the next Delict or a defensive player for Ajax's strength at the back, and I'm only gonna go 2 scouts because this next one is also a Dutch scout himself, with Janssen going to Belgium because that's where Mokio's from and a lot of other players in our team. And this is what it's found for us. It honestly couldn't be any better. A 17-year-old Rodney de Vries, 88 potential, obviously playing at right back, which is the position we aim to sign alongside goalkeeper, which will be where our money goes after we sell some players though, and then maybe we go up front as well. Wout Weghorst isn't the same after his Manchester United days are over. So let the signing and selling and loaning commence for this Ajax team, starting with our man Branco. He's never going to play in the centre of midfield. And then loaning out players like Bouwman to Genk. That's a decent loan deal. Experienced at the top of Belgium, as that's maybe where we sign our goalkeeper from. And on second thoughts, I only want Weghorst on the bench alongside Berghuis and Klaassen. We can't get rid of all our experience in one foul swoop. Let's face it, we're going to be playing in Europe, so I've got a goalkeeper to join them in Matteo Epolo, who looks very decent alongside this striker from Shakhtar Donetsk. As Seasons 1's focus is crucial, really. We know what we're doing. We are loaning players out. And then, this is one of the kids we signed. Matteo Apollo, who I can officially say is a kid because he's 21. I am now 23, and that makes me feel incredibly old, as these are younger than me. We've got Dijance, who was already out on loan, then Verschuren and Baumann, 68, or 67, 6 and 7, as Kaplan is one out on loan. Adler's as well, as I only just realised that Guy is 77, a 23-year-old, so he's pretty young himself in our region. We could not find a loan deal for, but Mokio has gone to left back. He may not have played there because, yes, it has put Wijnaldum in our bench. Well, it looks like it's played our bench a lot, which included Apollo and Dolberg in the reserves. Who's gone up front for this man? This is the Shakhtar man, Kawa Elias. And yes, I've looked everywhere online for his pronunciation. That's the only thing I could find. Someone saying it's said like that, and when we take Rieger out of the midfield for Fitzjim, him, Glock, and Taylor, it looks unbelievable. As to be fair, I'm going to shift it all around to the correct players. Now, that would be our lineup. Gotts, we've got to change to a right winger. And we kind of sorted. I still don't rate Kasper Dolberg as our starting striker. And our top scorer at the club with 36 is Davy Klaassen, the ex-Werder Bremen and Everton defender, if I'm correct. Grabbing himself the player of the year. But he's plus 30, meaning we cannot win the Champions League with Davy Klaassen in our squad. So we are going to have to find alternatives. Sotalo's here and also Guy in a league-winning season. And it's not only just that, you know, it's an unbeaten season. 0 losses, 6 draws, 28 wins. For Ajax, it's confirming our first trophy of this rebuild. To go alongside that, the Oranje Becker. We're trying to youthen our squad up, but the big players have come off the bench and scored the goals and got us the trophy. In Davy Klaassen and Co. is 12th in the league phase. That's not bad, you know. However, Arsenal 5-4 in the playoff round of the Champions League, which, like I say, we couldn't have won because the ages of our squads. Does anybody leave this squad right now? Sotalo's close. He's 26. And also Dolberg has to go, so we might need another striker to add to Kawa Elias, as I need you guys to add to the subscribe count. If you could hit the subscribe button, we're on the road to 70k. And look at this. Instant manager madness. We've got Luis Enrique replacing Pep Guardiola as Manchester City manager. Also, Enzo leaves Chelsea to go and replace the Bayer Leverkusen man. Weird one to leave Chelsea. I guess Todd Bowley was too demanding, as I've been demanding of what we're doing here with this Ajax project, and I'm going straight to the academy again. Oh boy, am I going to be using it. This time Dutch attackers and Belgian defenders, swapping the roles around, as I did get a lot of coaches in last year to try and help us accelerate the growth of players, because we are using the youth. And this time I'm not going to wait for the academy. Instead, in the meantime, I'm going to get rid of the older players, while some of their stocks are high, as what's this say? Financial returns? Okay, we get our full money back from selling players, so we've got to optimize and close any gaps in the squad, which is completely fine by me. I'm going to cash in on every opportunity I can, and also loan out some players, as that was our Regen de Vires, or Rodney de Vries, I'm going to call him, to Venezia. As then we've got Klaassen heading back to the Bundesliga, and Steven Berghaus finally gets his move to the Premier League in Everton. As in fact, it's been a huge window. You can see I've sold one youngster in Konadu because it was Arsenal. Sutalo's gone. Wijnald's gone. Even Apcom to give us almost 200 mil in transfer profit. But now we go to the youth, and now we get our squad much better. And this is the academy we have been blessed with in Season 2. Benjamin Hoffman, 68 straight out of the academy. Yes, please. Also Van der Brink on the brink of the first team. And Leon Molinar. He might get some game time now. Wijnald's gone. With this being what's left, as you can see, a very young bench, which I'm going to continue to try and shuffle around. I do want to trust Jans and Baumann to jump into this first team at some point. And I do want to trust Mokio. He's only 18 right there. And we've got Kaplan, who's only 23. But the fact we do have 2 left footers in the center of defense, that could cause issues. So I am going to go in for a defender, and I'm also going to get yet another striker. As do we win the Champions League? No. Wout Weghorst, 6'6", submitted a transfer request and just won't leave the club. So yeah, I'm going to keep Kawa Elias around, change the position of Mika Götze to a right winger as we needed him to be, then keep on loaning players as I change my mind on Aaron Bouwman. Because we're bringing in another centre-back anyway, Rav van der Berg from Cologne. And then before he gets too good for us, Emmanuel Omega of Frankfurt, who joins this Ajax project just before his 24th birthday. And he isn't half bad, I'll tell you that for free, because again, Ajax go and do it, winning the league, not only getting themselves in the Champions League, but with a squad now that is young enough to actually go and win it, according to our objectives, as the Oranjé Beker, as well as the league, takes us back to that cabinet, put it in, but I'm going to stall on the Champions League, because we might actually win it in our second season if we release Wout Weghorst. As what a turnaround, he's the oldest in the squad, the next one to go, however, after him is Kenny Taylor. 3 good stats though, 89 rated and 25, so yeah, we could lose him very soon if we're not careful. No over 27s as Rodney de Vries, 18, 72. We've got Bouwman, who's grown at AZ Alkmaar, a league rival. And then the rest are maybe 70s. I'd love a shock from our lone lads. But no, and we're going to check the goal scorers now, as that's not good. That's okay. It's Kenny Taylor on top. But like I said, the next to go. If we don't win the Champions League in the next 2 years, as Omega's only gone up by 1, Van der Berg is a 77. We signed him from the Bundesliga as well, with Mokio growing, Guy, Moro, we've got Götze now a right wing, Taylor, Glauch, and Baas. What an underrated left-footed centre-back. Nice and tidy stats on him. I don't know if that's an in-game face. And he is only 6 foot. I don't know if just yet he's the next De Ligt. But a man can dream, and I'm meaning good De Ligt, as Kenny Taylor got the player of the tournament, did it? Is that Taylor? Yes, it is. It's only saying his second name. As team of the season, now we have 4 players. Guy's in it again. Shining brightly is that lad, but we finished 20th in the Champions League. However, beating Monaco 5-2 in the playoff round before a heavy defeat to Liverpool, which in fact we did score 5 goals there. Meaning maybe defense is the issue, and we do have a 77 rated there, but I'm hoping for growth from Omega, and maybe a little moral support. And I love looking at these mascot packs, but also looking at the profile pictures this game's added. A basketball player, then a cobweb with tears on it. Or not tears, but raindrops, should I say. As we just spoke on getting some support, I'm talking wingers down here, because Bunida needs a loan, and also Stur, with Axel van Dronningen, Hoffman, a youth player. We've got to get some of these lads out, or they'll just rot down here, with emphasis on signings. 126 million. Youth method. However, a youth method, I would say now, unfortunately doesn't require the youth scout. We've got plenty of young players in. I'll take a few more that are of age, and then we're going to leave it at that, because I do want to discover some real-life wonder kids that aren't just Dutch, like Kawa Elias. Of course, we haven't played him as much as I'd want to, but he's 77, and he's the literal support to Omega, who needs support from the wings. And then maybe I do look at centre-back again, but I'm not going to push it. We do have 2 82 rated midfielders, and Mokio, I'm never moving out of left-back. And with Weghorst nowhere near retiring, 71 rated, he's just wasting time. We have the budget to go and release him to make our squad all accountable of winning that Champions League, which I would love to do, if I'm honest, in season number 2 here. Oh my days, not season 2, season 3. It's actually been that fun, this one, that it is flying by. Sean Stur gets his loan to St. Etienne, and Bunida to Anderlecht. Here starts the merry-go-round again. As here it is, a lot of regens out, and I have definitely been busy. A lot of business done, as I do want to pick up another player ourselves now, with one team trying to poach a lot of players, being Aston Villa. Unai Emery's got it in for us, especially after we beat them in pre-season. And they do have a Dutch player, which actually goes under the radar, and maybe related to one of our own, Lorenzo Bugard. Or he won't be actually, because his name is Lamare Bogard. Felt completely differently, can play numerous positions, but I don't think his best is any of them on that lineup. I think he'd be a decent centre-back addition to replace Van der Berg, so here we go. Now we've got a lot of Dutchmen at the back. Being true to the Ajax style, as I told you he could be a centre-back. Only 2 weeks, 86 defending, 75 physicality. Plop him in there for now, and it does look like we've got a complete team. After we do bring in some more quality off the bench, and I've found 2 perfect players. Matthias Jurasek rotting in the championship, so I'm going to bring him to a top-tier team. And then Felix Lemarechal, who's played with Omega before at Strasbourg. We've had so much change go down here. Moro, Götze and Omega now all over 85 and 90 rated in our midfield. Kenny, but I tell you what, if we don't get into the UCL this year and win it, he'll turn 27 next year, meaning he's gone. So it's last chance for him. We've had Apollo injured for majority of the second half of the season, and Borgard actually hasn't changed yet to a centre-back. But do I actually change him because we might lose Taylor? Well, I am going to gamble with it, and it's only a +1, but he's only 24 as well. 1 week off of an 85 as we're loaning out all the young kids. Marcel van der Brink, he didn't have much potential, but 70. Playing for Onana's ex-team, and then we've got Baumann, who's done well, but Sean Stur has now +11, 2 and 81 rated, all from playing for St. Etienne, as usually at this end you get to see the other leagues. Unfortunately, we don't get that option anymore, but we do get to see the top scorers where Omega was joint top. However, no one top of clean sheets. Why are we not just seeing goalkeepers here? Veerman, Pepe, Mex Meerdink. I did look at signing him. As the best average rating in the league is Jesse Boss. Gonna have to look into the regen. That's a job for next season though, as this year Omega scored 31 goals. However, not placed in the team of the year. Guy's the only one who's got in 3 years in a row. But thank goodness. I thought with no hype around our players in the squad hub and also in the news hub, we wouldn't have done well, but we have. We've done perfectly. We've won the league again. It's getting closer to AZ Alkmaar, but some of our players were actually on loan there, and we do win the Orange Becker at the same time, giving us yet again 2 trophies. It's getting boring having them now. As the Champions League, still though, we always manage to suffer 3 defeats. I'm not liking it. The playoff round, we lose immediately to Juventus, meaning it's the end of Kenny Taylor. Our big 90 rated will have to depart the club. And that is shambolic, as this was the best rated player in the league last year, Jesse Boss. He's 63 overall at Fortuna Sittard. Maybe the average rating's made up of just the 1 game, which shouldn't really be fair. It should be made up on loads of performances, as Bournemouth have some decent strikers. But it's not strikers we are after, because we've got the Dutchman on Dutch duty. It's midfield, because Kenny Taylor, we cannot use anymore. However, down here, let's drag Stur up. We've also got Regia, so 2 for 1 in replacements, and that looks a lot better already, with the lowest rated being Mokio, who I really didn't want to get rid of. He's got 90 pace, 83 dribbling, but as a defender, he's still lagging behind. And as for a bench, we've got a really good one. I want to keep De Vries on here because he was one of the first regen players we received, and he's still pretty good. With 85 million in the bank, genuinely going to grow massively because of Kenny Taylor leaving, and I still think we've got to aim for that Champions League as soon as possible, because after this it creeps into Anton, Guy, Bas, Omega, Morrow, Kaplan. If we don't win this Champions League in the next 2 seasons, we might be screwed. So we've got to make big money, and before we do sell Kenny himself, Mokio, look how many position changes he can make. I think striker's the longest it takes him, and that's only 164 weeks. We could play him anywhere, which actually makes me want to keep him at fullback. He's not exactly the next Hazard, as Ryan Bonida could be, who I am going to opt out to loan again, as I'm loaning out a lot of players, but still no offers in for Kenny Taylor yet. Please don't make me release him, because I want to keep our budget together. Giovanni Major to Başakşehir. And Kenny Taylor right here. It is a swap deal with Paris Saint-Germain. Not exactly the move I had in mind, and he's gone ahead and rejected it himself. Not something I thought he could do, as Rayan Bunida joins a league rival. And I think I am going to take it amongst myself to try and release Kenny Taylor, as Lucas Bergvall was actually the player rumoured in the swap deal. Now, I don't know why it's actually rejected it. He submitted a transfer request himself. I don't have blocked offers on, but the board just aren't letting me sell him. And rules are rules in this rebuild, so he's got to go, as I just did notice Kian Fitzjim. When did he get to a 90 overall? Has he been sat at that rating all the time? And I've genuinely never noticed that. Okay, Kenny Taylor is not a miss. This team is looking very good. And I wanted 2 players in, a left back and a centre mid, but with only 85 mil now, without being able to sell Kenny Taylor, I thought, screw it. I want Lucas Bergvall anyway. Just had to steal him for the midfield, which actually has already outgrown him in Glauch and Fitzjim, who's 92. Unreal, we've got a 90 rated goalkeeper. Borgard slipped into this team, very nice. And we have got each player under 27 like we wanted, with a lot of them still loaned out. As I'm going to check goal scorers before loanees, we've got Emmanuel Omega now grabbing 37. That is obscene. With Fitzjim getting 20, and then there was someone else just under that. We've got Aaron Baumann, who's now 21. Potential-wise, not too great anymore. Same as Bunida, who hasn't grown playing for a rival. It shows that some youth players work out, and then some don't. It's just a tale of who gets the more game time. Such as Mika Gotsu has. Now he's gone to a 23, 87 rated, compared to a D-Ace Hansa, who's now 23 at a 74. Kaplan is another one. I'm probably going to sign him again at some point in a career mode, as I've took a mental note of him, and then look at the manager changes. We've got Emre getting sacked. We've got Adair Mestre going in at Bayern Munich. Mikel Arteta's now in our division after getting sacked at Munich with PSV. So it's going to be MWS ball versus Mikel Arteta defensive ball. After Brendan Rodgers got sacked, I didn't even know he was in charge. We've been dominating this league with 2 quality managers in it, so I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for that one. Despite actually not winning the league here in our 4th season, Arteta's actually done it. He's now put another team in us into 2nd position, not himself and the Oranhe Becker. This is a disaster class. Ajax to not get a domestic trophy is absolutely scandalous. With the 90 rateds we now have, however, less defeats. We do finish without a playoff game. Nottingham Forest in 3rd in the Champions League phase, and we've hammered Jose Mourinho. Before moving on to Milano, 4-0. Are good things happening? Well, I'll tell you what, after a comeback against Napoli and Fenerbahce in the semi-finals, Ajax will reach the Champions League finale in 28-29 against Barcelona. Interesting. Now then, they're a team that have stole some of the players in previous seasons from Ajax, as we head into a 4th season Champions League finale with everybody under 27. This should be interesting, and I do see Frankie. He's just running towards the centre of the field now, and Bergvall, I just thought he fixed our system. With Kenny Taylor leaving, of course, a Swede, not too far from the Netherlands as Bergvall. Play that quick. There we go. We're around our man. I'm not used to playing this attacking formation, especially in a Champions League finale, as Mokio, he stayed in the lineup, did our Belgian left back. I just had to keep him in there, as I'm going to take the corner with Morrow, and it was a header. I think Lamine Yamal's actually handled that, but got away with it because handballs have not been switched on just yet. And Marmoush is up front. He's a very good player in this game. We need a tackle in, and there it comes from Bogard. Still panicked to get it clear, but we actually have got it clear now. And Fitzjim fits the ball through the middle onto Morrow, now onto Glauch, and that's a brilliant ball into Omega, who scores the opener, catching Barcelona by surprise after Marmoush should have run through. Amsterdam's bouncing. I love this new cutscene. We've gone and done it in the Champions League. First blood in Amsterdam to Ajax against FCB. Utilising a Dutch player as well, you never get anything better in career mode than scoring in a Champions League finale with a player who's actually from the nation the club is at, as Omega makes Bello stretch for another save. And that is the last time I'm actually trying that, because it's not succeeded once more. And Guy, our team of the season player, into Moro. You know I love my short corners. And I'm going to hit this with Mocchio in the top bin. What a fine finish from the man I kept faith with because I knew how young he was. I knew he had a bit of potential. This is a power shot from the left back with 53 shooting. It's beaten the keeper in the top bin. And that has come from a short corner, which worked to perfection if you ask me. Marmouche, brilliant tackle on him. And Oscar to run again, and would you believe it if I said I've upped the difficulty to legendary, because I was always a world-class player, but I'm doing well on this FIFA with the passing, as there's Guts trying to get a ball in, and we do cross it to put pressure on them. Mocchio's goal, the first coming outside of the box in this game for me. I will admit that clearly, as Omega tries to spin in behind Gerard Martin, a very good defender, but just look at the pressing. Scalvini's there. We're just flooding onto them with ease. Really getting in their faces. And now Fitzgerald Morrow. What a pass into Omega. With De Jong just getting subbed off for Barca, but hang about. Marmouche. I've took my finger slightly off the sprint, and Marmouche hits the side netting. Now Lamine Yamal's going to do the running for Marmouche, but Marmouche, oh my days, I shouldn't have committed there. The Egyptian is so hard to read. He's just going backwards to go forwards once more. But an easy save for Apollo, as now Marmouche, he's turned inside of us again. If they do get one late on here, it would be robbery if they win it. But that was a sloppy pass. And McCoy, once he whacks the ball, or Omega heads the ball. It's 2-0. The whistle's blown. Ajax of Amsterdam, with their youth, beat FC Barcelona, with Fitzjim lifting the trophy. I'm not going to lie, it would have nice to see Kenneth Taylor do it. Definitely not Onana. I wasn't thinking about bringing any players back to Ajax. And that's something I did in my previous saves in previous years. So if you do want to watch that, I know it's an old version of FIFA or FC, but they're out there. And as always, if you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe, as these videos on screen now are recommended to you specifically.